morning, Beaumont, and welcome. It's the right side of the mic with Doc Greene. Glad to be with you this morning. Kick back, get out your notepad, and enjoy. We're going to have a good time right now. You have a choice, and you chose Freedom 1300. Texas authorities say they're shutting down a crime-ridden hotel that houses the Tren de Aragua gang members, and they're investigating the gang's criminal involvement in other cities. El Paso County Attorney Cristina Sanchez filed a lawsuit on August the 27th to close the Gateway Hotel on Stanton Street in downtown El Paso for multiple code violations, noting that the police had been there 693 times in recent history. The lawsuit names as defendants of the Gateway Hotel Gigante Enterprises LLC, which owns the business, and hotel owner Howard Yoon. Tren de Aragua gang members have occupied the Gateway Hotel since June. Special Projects Coordinator Elihu Dominguez told the Epic Times that the judge granted an order to close the hotel by September the 12th. The temporary injunction signed by Judge Maria Salas Mendoza will close down the hotel pending a December 9th hearing on a permanent injunction, and residents will have until 10 a.m. on September 12th to get the hell out of there. Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang with an estimated 5,000 members, well feared in Latin America, has been connected to lots of things going on here in America, including, I talked about last week, in Dallas. Their members are believed to be taking advantage of the border crisis chaos under the Harris administration. So keep an eye out for what they're doing. They have been working in a lot of different areas. They have a lot of things that they do: drug trafficking, sex crime, extortion, and, of course, other violent acts. President Uncle Joe has designated Tren de Aragua as a transnational criminal organization, and this was at the urging of Maria Elvira Salazar and Senator Marco Rubio, both of them from Florida. Over the last year, the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua has managed to move their organizations north, taking advantage of our southern border. El Paso, of course, has been completely overrun by illegal aliens, and this is as a direct result of what the current administration has been trying to organize. Security videos at the Gateway Hotel show aggressive, aggravated assault, men holding knives, men with hatchets, people being assaulted and causing damage to the hotel while a security guard stands by. In an affidavit included in the court documents, El Paso police officer Samuel Medina said he suspects that they are also running prostitution out of this hotel. During a hotel check in July, a police officer noticed that there were people behind the front desk that had no hotel insignia or uniform. An officer identified Tren de Aragua members at the hotel. In August, they were called to the hotel with reports of loud noises and drinking. They reported one person living on the third floor had a gang tattoo. The Epic Times is unable to reach Howard Yoon for comment. Meanwhile, Dallas police spokesperson Jennifer Pryor told the Epic Times that the gang activity in North Dallas is also linked to Tren de Aragua. Up in Aurora, Colorado, the law firm Perkins Coie represents the leader for the Whispering Pines, which is a 54-unit apartment complex on Helena Street in Aurora, and they're investigating the situation. Perkins Coie's 10-page letter to city officials documented how they took over the apartments with threats of murder, beating, and intimidation. Evidence indicates that the Venezuelan gang members in Aurora also engaged in human trafficking, so it's all part of one big operation. When this issue came to national attention, they said the Aurora police had been arresting people for various criminal activities who had been suspected to be connected to the gang. Well, folks, this is what happens when you have a wide open border. We need the wall, and we need mass deportations. And a lot of people have asked, how's that going to work? Well, based on past history, we discovered that once you start deporting illegal aliens, a lot of illegal aliens will self-deport. They'll say, all right, well, it was a good run. Now it's time to get out of here. So right now, I'd estimate in the United States, we have somewhere around 65 to 75 million illegal aliens. Yes, that's a lot. What happens if you get rid of them? Well, all of a sudden, there are job openings, and if you also get rid of the welfare state that we've been operating, Americans are going to apply for those jobs. And by the way, just so that you will know, I mean, everybody likes to talk about the ag part of this. I was raised in a farming family. We did it all ourselves. Occasionally, we'd hire a little help. But most of the time, we did all the work ourselves. Americans will do this kind of work, but they're not going to do it for $7 an hour. They're going to expect to get paid. And I don't know about you, but I'm willing to pay more for a cabbage if it's picked by an American. Your thoughts may vary. And now this, actor Kevin Hart, but Hollywood A-lister Kevin Hart has stunned people in California because he opened up this incredible vegan fast food chain called the Hart House, and his whole plan was this. He doesn't eat meat. He's become a vegan. Those are people from the planet Vega. And he's become a vegan, and he opened these vegan restaurants. He said the response to our product has just been incredible. We want to thank our committed teams and our customers and our community partners for helping make the change we all crave, but I have to close all these restaurants. You know why? The $20 an hour minimum wage. It has just killed any possibility of making a profit. He opened on the corner of Sunset and Highland, across the street from Hollywood High, adjacent to the Chick-fil-A, and a couple of 100 yards down from the world-famous In-N-Out Burger. The Hart House has not issued any statements fully explaining the sudden closure, but all we can say is this. 4 months after the Democrat-led legislature passed a mandate to pay fast food workers $20 an hour, the industry has been scrambling to cope with these huge increase in expenses because labor is now the number one expense if you're in the food industry. Some of them have decided to get rid of people at the counter and install electronic kiosks. Others has been forced to cut the number of total workers and cut the hours that they work. Fast food prices have already gone up 7% since the new wage took effect, but it's just not enough to save restaurants, and in particular Hart House, which is closing all 4 of his locations. So once again, who you elect has consequences, and some people think that the governor of California may have actually rigged the last recall election. What do you think? Finally, we need to cover some stuff on the assassination attempt of Donald Trump that happened Sunday afternoon at one of the golf courses that he owns. The man they claim was responsible for this was Ryan Wesley Routh, or Ruth, R-O-U-T-H. What's interesting about this fellow was, first of all, he was interviewed by Newsweek in 2022 about his efforts to recruit mercenaries to fight in Ukraine. The second interesting thing about him is the New York Times wrote a profile on him also back in 2023. This is incredible. Once again, we have a guy that seems to have a media presence. People seem to know about him, and all of a sudden, he's here trying to assassinate Donald Trump. Now, all of the media out there said there was no motive recorded, but the truth is, he said this is simply a battle of good versus evil, which would mean he was acting upon what the news media has been trying to get people to act upon for some period of time, and that is simply that Donald Trump is evil, he's a threat to democracy, he must be stopped. So nothing unusual here. I do find it very interesting that both of these alleged assassins donated to Act Blue. According to my sources, Steve Cicciolanti being one of them, the shooter got off 4 shots before he was engaged by the Secret Service. Now, that's not what you've been hearing, is it? But nonetheless, I believe that that version of the facts is true. The FBI agent who spoke on this is a famous never-Trumper. And in order to get promoted to the head of the FBI office in Florida, he had to erase all of his public Twitter stuff because it was so filled with Trump derangement syndrome. Guys, we have reached a point in America that I never thought we would get to, but we cannot trust anyone in the Justice Department. And they certainly have no interest in protecting Donald Trump. The good news is Donald Trump has the best Secret Service protection in history, and that is the angels of the living mighty God in Christ. Perhaps this is why you can't find any information on this in any of the major news media. All of the major news media today, ABC, NBC, MSDNC, Fox News, none of them are really covering any of this. They're moving on to other more important subjects. This will not be the last attempt to destroy the greatest president in American history, who, when he is firmly ensconced again, because he will certainly win this next election, is going to make radical changes to restore America to the greatness for which God created it. This will be likely America's last hurrah, because what are you going to do after Donald Trump? No one else can swing that hammer. He is Thor, because he and his entire family are in this together. They don't need the money. They don't need the status. They don't need any of the trappings of office. They're simply there to save America, and they're all in it. So you can't just go to Donald Trump and threaten his family, because the whole family's in on it, and he'll just say what he has just said, and that is, I will not quit. I will continue to fight. I am going to do my part to save America. Had this discussion with my family at one point when I was getting some threatening emails, shall we say, from those people that are a little sexually confused, and that's one of the things we agreed upon. It doesn't matter. If they were to kidnap me and say, well, if you do X, you can save Doc's life, and I said, I'm already dead. Don't do it. I completely understand, and you need to understand as well, my friend. You cannot negotiate with evil. You cannot negotiate with evil. You cannot negotiate with evil. Once you understand that, it will revolutionize your entire life. Thanks for listening. Catch up with you guys tomorrow. You have a choice, and you chose Freedom 1300.